Hey guys, welcome to your Aries Full Moon video with me, your astrologer, Alexandra Irving from Chasing the Bagua. And this is going to be a very impactful full moon. It's in Aries, so get ready for some explosive energy. We still got Jupiter in Aries until the end of this month. And so it is retrograde, so it's bringing this realizing quality within our individual self. And there's a lot of access for abundance, abundant relationships, and building this within our partnerships, our business, and our creative endeavors as well. So this full moon is happening here on Sunday, the 9th on the East Coast at 4:58 p.m. So of course this is 2 hours earlier on the West Coast, and this is activating the moon at 16 degrees 32 seconds of the sign of Aries, which Chiron, the wounded healer, we'll talk about in a little bit. The asteroid is there at 14 degrees. So this is is a time to destroy our traumas and to pull forward in a new way within our synastry, right? Within relationships, within our interactions with self, and the way that we explore our mind as well, because this is the moon in Aries, ruled by Mars. And Mars is at 22 degrees in shadow in Gemini. So there's a lot of thought process for us. This is in a sextile, loose sextile to the moon. So it is all about how we're thinking. It's how we're adapting to the people, places, and things around us. And there's a lot to reflect on because we've been, planting these seeds since the Libra new moon, which we had exact on the 25th at 2 degrees. This its energy is still in motion within our lives, within our personal lives, our relationships as well. And it's an exploration of these dualities, right? And if we can synergize them within ourselves in divine grace. So this full moon, again, 16 degrees is a 7. So this is raising our awareness within our lives, especially about ourselves. So it's going to be complex, especially as Pluto just came direct the night before, about 24 hours. So Pluto's really strong. And that's also in a loose sextile as well. So when we look at Mars and Pluto, Pluto is just coming direct in Capricorn. So this is infrastructure. This is, the deep state, the deep corridors and understanding of the government, of the infrastructure again. And that's on a global level. So really quickly, there's a lot of change that is happening beyond in other countries. And when it has to do with war and merchants, I mean, look at, what's happening, with electric prices. Look what's happening with gas is going to be a big thing, especially as they that pipeline, the Nord Stream pipeline also got destroyed as well. So that's a big deal when it goes into foreign lands. So, and I'm saying that because Mars, the ruler of this full moon, is again in shadow in Gemini, and that's the 9th house from the sun. So we have to be very coordinated with what we're trying to establish within our lives, our relationships. Venus, again, is in her own home. So she's coming up to the superior conjunction with the sun at the end, well, on the 22nd. So this energy, the Venus is combust, she is strong, but we have to be very discerning about the relationships that we are keeping and also how we are, strategizing through our senses. Because literally this is setting up us up through, you know, the darker times, you know, winter and things like that. And so there's a lot to go beyond ourselves, our everyday habits that we've had. It's time to look at these, to rearrange things, and to pull into action a rebirth within ourselves. And we're going to see the world at large going through this as well. So we do have Mercury at 28 degrees in the 12th house from the sun, right? So 12th house is also foreign lands, but it can be lost. So we're looking at some deep situations within the markets, the merchants as well, you know. Supply chain is going to be highly in the news, right? And there's going to be probably a lot of talk about loss, foreign lands. But this is a place also to raise our compassion and to guide ourselves into that change, that huge transformation, because let's bear witness not only to the revolution that's going on into the world, but this is happening within our own lives. So we have to digest what we're separating from, and we have to keep this like narrow and according so we can get through those tougher times and have our understanding of where we're going. This is a very individualized energy, this full moon, as it's happening in Ravati Nakshatra, which is also ruled by Mercury. So this also shows another importance of, you know, foreign lands, also the merchants, as I was saying, you know, stock markets, all this. This is going to be big, I would say, for gas, a big impactful realization of what's going to be put through action when it comes to fossil fuels and things and precious metals. So, you know, commodities are going to be a big thing as well with this full moon. But for ourselves personally, again, it is a time to invest in our clarity of the spiritual, of what our true pursuit is, and this embodiment within our lives, the service, like service attitude can help us through some big things. Like if we're bogged down in, you know, the dense energy that Saturn is bringing in the 5th house from the sun, you know, then, you know, look towards service, what we can do. This can kind of heal that place. So within ourselves. So this is a very complex time. I think this is going to lead to maybe more anger, hostility, you know, full moons. This is where the word lunatic comes from, because the lunation, it's in full view. So, you know, people can be on edge, especially, you know, because it's Mars energy. It's very heavily Mars influenced. And also, you know, it's bringing into a conscious light some things surrounding war and the problems around war. It's like, if you look at like actually, you know, where the funding is, it's like also Mars is hunger. So we're having the hunger that's happening in the cities because of war. And we're probably going to see this come out. You know, there's like talk that, you know, kids are in schools, which if you've been following my work, I've been talking about how the beliefs around the children are going to be huge around this time. And we're seeing it in several ways. But some of the school lunches, I mean, imagine all the kids that can't even have food. You know, they depend on the education system because their parents don't make enough money. They go, and so there was an article that like a high school kid has been getting used to hunger because they've actually taken back these school lunches, but we can supply billions on war, and so this kind of clarity is coming to light. And of course, you can still look back on that Libra new moon video that I put up, because we're still under this energy, and I talk about this time being a time of light, a new light dawning, a consciousness within our lives. So this is an activation of what we ourselves really need to explore. And I think I said that, the moon was in a sextile to Pluto. I'm sorry, I totally misspoke. It's in a sextile to Saturn. So, and it's a square to Pluto. So this is creating that, that action with the strategy for infrastructure, and it's the change on the future. So again, like this just shows it's a time of activating a revolution within the state of affairs in the world, and also, with the information. So information can get a little intense, and then also maybe the issues surrounding free information, as we also have Mars in that trine to Saturn. So it's a big time. Of course, Venus and Saturn are in their dignity, and these two energies work well together. There is this grand air trine. The sun is influencing Saturn, so is Venus. And then we have Mars in Gemini. So there's a lot that's being active in social, or activated in social houses. So this is, a time that of complete change, but also don't be scared of not having enough, because this nakshatra, Ravati, is all about wealth and abundance. So we have to, again, be mindful of our associations, our networks, all that, because that's going to link us up in the future. And we are in a generational cycle with Jupiter, Saturn that conjuncted back on the on winter solstice of 2020 at 0 degrees of Aquarius. So this is all about bringing new energies. I know they say, nothing in this world is new, but this is a time of bringing the new energies. So if we witness where we are putting our senses, our sensory mind, if we can bring it in and to channel it beyond of what the divine really has for us, then this is where true power is. And we're coming up into that Scorpio partial solar eclipse on the 25th. So this is a big time for creating our unique experience and our individualized sense of how we're going to go through some of the most transformative times of our life. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. This is a big full moon, so filled with healing as well. So look into yourself of what you can change, and what you can't change. Some of these things that are pressed up against us that we, can't change within, the physical, probably finances can be a big thing. We have to give this over, and because there's a lot of change, and we have to be willing to have faith. Well, thanks again. I appreciate you so much. If you do like my work, of course, I have on Instagram every Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the weekly all signs horoscope. So I break down the week and then I go through all signs. Of course, if you want to know more about your own natal chart, you can schedule a reading easily on chasingthebhagwat.com. If you have any specific questions as well, I can get really specific into your chart. Of course, there's also the Daily Horoscopes podcast. If you want to get more into this, of course, I'll have this on the day of the full moon. So support my work. I appreciate all of the support. And if you could share, like, subscribe, all this, it helps, I think. Thanks again, and I will see you soon.